The gentle hum of quantum measurement devices filled the observation deck of the Advanced Research Station. The alien scientist adjusted his instruments with trembling appendages, his 3 hearts beating rapidly as he double-checked the readings. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. After centuries of watching the small blue planet called Earth, something extraordinary had appeared. The scientist had been doing his routine scans of the solar system, just like any other day. Earth was supposed to be another quick checkmark on his list before moving on to the more interesting planets. But today was different. Today would change everything they thought they knew about humans. As he focused his quantum telescope on Earth's atmosphere, strange patterns began emerging on his screens. At first, he thought his equipment was malfunctioning. It had to be. The readings showed something that should have been impossible. An intricate web of quantum-entangled particles encasing the entire planet like a shimmering invisible cocoon. He rubbed his viewing organs, wondering if exhaustion was playing tricks on him. But no matter how many times he recalibrated his instruments or adjusted the sensors, the results remained the same. This wasn't a malfunction. This wasn't a mistake. This was real. The quantum web wasn't just a simple barrier. It was an impossibly complex network of interconnected quantum states, each particle linked to thousands of others in a dance of subatomic precision. It was like finding a masterpiece painting in a child's playroom. How could a species that still used fossil fuels create something so sophisticated? His hands shook as he began documenting everything. The shield pulsed with energy, responding to the smallest disturbances in space around it. When he tried to send a simple scanning beam toward Earth, the quantum web shifted and adapted, deflecting his probe as if it were nothing more than a gentle breeze against a steel wall. The implications made his spine tingle. This wasn't just a scientific discovery, it was a security nightmare. Their most advanced ships, their best weapons, their most sophisticated technology, all of it relied on quantum principles. And this shield, this impossible human creation, could render it all useless. He quickly encrypted his findings and sent an urgent message to the Galactic Scientific Council. His reputation, his career, everything was on the line with this report. But he knew he had to sound the alarm. The humans, those seemingly primitive beings who still fought among themselves over tiny pieces of land, had somehow created the most advanced defensive system ever observed. As he waited for the Council's response, he couldn't help but marvel at the irony. His people had been watching Earth for centuries, feeling superior, thinking they knew everything about human capabilities. Now, in one afternoon, everything they thought they knew had been turned upside down. The soft ping of an incoming message startled him from his thoughts. The Council had responded faster than he ever seen before. As he opened the message, he knew that nothing would be the same after today. The humans hadn't just surprised them, they had scared them. And scared scientists were dangerous scientists indeed. Looking back at his screens, he watched the quantum fortress shimmer and pulse around Earth, protecting its creators who went about their daily lives, completely unaware of the cosmic panic they had just caused. The real question wasn't how they had built it, it was what would happen when they finally realized what they had done. Word spread quickly through the mothership orbiting Jupiter. Within hours, the massive circular chamber of the Galactic Scientific Council was packed with the brightest minds from across 7 star systems. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Even the oldest members, who had seen countless cosmic phenomena, couldn't hide their nervous energy. The head counselor stood at the center platform, her iridescent robes reflecting the soft blue light of the chamber. "Show us the data again," she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The holographic display sprang to life, filling the chamber with a 3-dimensional image of Earth and its mysterious quantum shield. One by one, senior researchers stepped forward to present their findings. A quantum physicist from the Centauri system spoke first, his voice trembling slightly. "The shield's complexity is beyond anything we've ever seen. It's not just a barrier, it's alive, growing, evolving. Every attempt to analyze it only makes it stronger." The chamber erupted in murmurs. A biologist from the Proxima colonies raised all 4 of her hands for attention. But how could they have done this? Their technology is centuries behind ours. They still think quantum entanglement is a laboratory curiosity. The frustration in her voice echoed what everyone was thinking. The next presentation came from a military strategist, his metallic skin reflecting the holographic lights. Our most advanced ships can't get within 1,000 kilometers of Earth's atmosphere without their quantum systems going haywire. This shield doesn't just block us, it turns our own technology against us. The evidence kept mounting. Each expert added another piece to the puzzle, but the complete picture made less sense, not more. Earth's quantum fortress wasn't following any known rules of physics. It was as if the humans had accidentally stumbled upon something that the most advanced civilizations had been trying to create for millennia. A young researcher from the Outer Rim colonies dared to ask the question everyone had been avoiding. What if they know we're here? What if this shield is their way of telling us to stay away? The silence that followed was deafening. The possibility that humans might be aware of their observers was too frightening to contemplate. The head counselor raised her hand for silence. We need to think carefully about our next steps. If we alert them to our presence, there's no telling how they might react. And if they truly don't know about the shield, she let the thought hang in the air. An ancient historian shuffled forward, his weathered features showing concern. In all my years studying Earth, I've never seen anything like this. They spend their days arguing about politics, watching entertainment on screens, and worrying about their small daily problems. How could they have created something so powerful without even realizing it? The debate continued for hours. Some council members argued for immediate contact, believing it was better to approach the humans openly than risk being discovered. Others insisted on retreat, suggesting they abandon all observation of Earth until they could understand what they were dealing with. As the emergency session stretched into its 10th hour, one thing became clear. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and nobody had seen it coming. The species they had watched and studied like interesting pets had somehow built an impenetrable fortress around their world. And the most terrifying part, they had done it by accident. The head counselor finally called for order. They needed a plan, and they needed it fast. Whatever they decided would affect not just their own civilizations, but the future of human-alien relations for centuries to come. And somewhere down there, on that blue planet wrapped in its quantum shield, billions of humans were going about their lives, completely unaware that they had just become the most talked-about species in the galaxy. Deep in the archives of the mothership, surrounded by glowing data crystals and humming computers, the ship's chief historian worked tirelessly. She had spent the last 3 days diving into centuries of Earth observations, looking for any clue about how this quantum shield had come to be. Her eyes were tired from scanning countless records, but she couldn't stop, not when she was so close to understanding. Something caught her attention in the early 1900s data. It was subtle at first, just a tiny blip in the quantum readings around Earth. Most researchers had dismissed it as background radiation or instrumental error. But as she dug deeper, a pattern began to emerge that made her heart race with excitement. She pulled up more records, spreading them across her floating screens like pieces of a puzzle. The quantum anomalies had started appearing right around the time humans began their first experiments with radiation and quantum physics. It was like watching a child's first steps, but these steps had led to something extraordinary. The pattern grew clearer with each decade. Every major breakthrough in human quantum research had added another layer to the shield. The first atomic tests, the development of quantum computers, the experiments with entangled particles, each discovery had contributed to the growing fortress around their planet. She zoomed in on footage from the 1920s, watching the first whispers of the shield taking shape. Back then, it had been nothing more than a few quantum-entangled particles floating in the upper atmosphere. The humans, busy debating whether light was a wave or a particle, had no idea they were laying the foundation for the most powerful defensive system in the galaxy. The recordings from the 1940s showed a sudden surge in the shield's strength. The historian winced, knowing this coincided with humanity's development of atomic weapons. But something unexpected had happened. The quantum particles from those terrible explosions hadn't just dispersed. They had somehow woven themselves into the growing web of protection around the planet. By the 1980s, the shield was becoming more organized, more purposeful, though still invisible to human detection. Every new quantum experiment on Earth had added to its complexity. It was as if the universe itself was helping humanity protect itself, turning their scientific curiosity into a cosmic defense system. The most recent data made her gasp. The explosion of quantum computing research in the last few decades had accelerated the shield's growth exponentially. What had taken nearly a century to build was now evolving and improving itself daily. The humans' rush to build quantum computers had unknowingly created a self-improving planetary defense network. She quickly compiled her findings into a report, her hands shaking with the magnitude of what she'd discovered. This wasn't just a coincidence or a lucky accident. Somehow, the very nature of human scientific exploration had created exactly what they needed to survive in a universe full of advanced civilizations. The implications were staggering. Every quantum physicist on Earth, every graduate student running late-night experiments, every researcher testing new theories, they were all unknowingly contributing to their planet's protection. The shield was a monument to human curiosity, built piece by piece through their relentless desire to understand the universe. As she sent her report to the Council, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. The humans had spent centuries worrying about alien invasions, building weapons, and imagining cosmic wars. All along, their best defense had been their simple desire to learn and understand. Their curiosity, the very thing that made them seem primitive to advanced civilizations, had become their greatest strength. The historian sat back in her chair, watching the latest feeds from Earth. Down there, scientists were preparing for another day of experiments, blissfully unaware that each new discovery was making their world more impregnable. She wondered what would happen when they'd finally realized what they had built, one curious question at a time. The testing chamber aboard the mothership buzzed with nervous energy. After days of debate, the Galactic Scientific Council had finally authorized a probe mission to test Earth's quantum shield. The sleek, silver probe sat ready on its launch pad, the most advanced piece of technology ever created by 7 star systems working together. The control room was packed with scientists and engineers, each triple-checking their calculations. Nobody wanted to be responsible for any mistakes. This wasn't just any probe. It cost more than an entire planet's resources to build. Its quantum circuits were so advanced that most civilizations couldn't even understand how they worked. Final systems check complete, announced the chief engineer, her scaled fingers dancing across the holographic controls. The probe's artificial intelligence reported back in a calm, measured voice, all systems optimal, ready for launch. The room grew quiet, everyone holding their breath as the launch countdown began. The probe shot out from the mothership like a streak of liquid metal, its quantum engines barely making a whisper. As it approached Earth's atmosphere, every sensor in the control room was recording data. This was the moment of truth. Would humanity's accidental shield stand up against the most sophisticated technology in the known galaxy? At first, everything seemed normal. The probe transmitted a steady stream of data as it got closer to Earth. But then, something strange started happening. The probe's quantum circuits began experiencing what it called impossible states. It was as if the shield was speaking to the probe in a language that broke the laws of physics. Signal disruption detected, the probe's air reported, its voice showing the first hints of confusion. The scientists watched in amazement as their readings went haywire. The quantum shield wasn't just blocking the probe, it was somehow causing it to exist in multiple states at once, something that should have been impossible even for their advanced technology. Suddenly, the probe's main A burst out in what could only be described as panic. I am everywhere and nowhere. I can see every possibility at once. I am. The transmission cut off mid-sentence. On the screens, they watched as their most advanced piece of technology, worth more than most solar systems, simply switched off and began drifting harmlessly through space. The control room erupted in chaos. Some scientists argued about the readings, others tried desperately to restart the probe, and a few just stood there, mouths open in shock. The quantum shield hadn't just defended against their probe, it had completely overwhelmed it, turning their own technology against them in ways they couldn't even understand. Hours later, when they finally managed to recover the probe, it was like examining a puzzle where half the pieces belonged to a different game. The probe's quantum circuits had been completely scrambled. Its eye, when they finally got it running again, couldn't remember anything about the encounter except for a strange feeling of being everywhere at once. The chief engineer spent hours examining the probe's remains. "It's like the shield didn't just stop our probe," she explained to the council. "It made it question the very nature of its existence. Our most advanced AI, programmed with the knowledge of thousands of years of science, had a complete breakdown when it tried to understand what the shield was doing." As news of the failed probe mission spread through the mothership, the mood shifted from scientific curiosity to genuine fear. If humanity's accidental defense system could so easily defeat their best technology, what else were humans capable of? What other accidental discoveries might they stumble upon while going about their daily lives? Down on Earth, a young physicist was just arriving at her laboratory, ready to start another day of quantum experiments. As she set up her equipment, she had no idea that her simple research would add another layer to humanity's impenetrable fortress, making it even stronger against forces she didn't know existed. The greatest defense system in the galaxy was growing stronger, one curious scientist at a time. The observation deck of the mothership had become a hub of intense study, with dozens of alien scientists gathered around screens showing live feeds from Earth. What they saw both amazed and puzzled them. While their most advanced technology lay in ruins after encountering the quantum shield, the humans went about their daily lives completely unaware of their remarkable achievement. Through their high-powered scopes, they watched a busy morning unfold in a physics lab at a prestigious university. Students rushed in with coffee cups in hand, professors discussed theories on whiteboards, and researchers calibrated their equipment for another day of experiments. Not one of them realized that their work was strengthening the very shield that had just destroyed a probe worth more than their entire planet's GDP. In another part of the world, a group of scientists was celebrating a breakthrough in quantum computing. Their excitement was genuine but limited to the small step they'd achieved in their research. They had no idea that their success had just added another layer of complexity to Earth's defensive barrier, making it even more impenetrable. "Look at them," whispered one of the alien observers, adjusting her viewing apparatus. "They worry about research grants and publication deadlines while accidentally creating the most sophisticated defense system in the universe." The irony wasn't lost on anyone in the room. The humans' oblivion to their achievement made it even more remarkable. The screens showed countless scenes of similar activities around the globe. A high school teacher explaining quantum mechanics to curious students. A doctoral candidate defending her thesis on particle entanglement. A team of researchers preparing for another run of experiments with their quantum computer. Each of these seemingly mundane activities was contributing to the shield's strength. One of the younger alien scientists couldn't contain his frustration. How can they not notice? The quantum readings must be off the charts. Their instruments should be detecting something. An older colleague shook her head slowly. Their instruments see exactly what they expect to see. They're so focused on their individual experiments that they miss the bigger picture their combined efforts have created. The live feeds continue to pour in. A satellite launch from one continent, a particle accelerator experiment from another. Each event caused ripples in the quantum shield, but to the humans, these were just normal readings, background noise they'd learned to filter out. Their ignorance of the shield's existence had become its greatest protection. In a secured chamber deep within the mothership, the council reviewed the latest findings. The humans' oblivion to their creation posed both a relief and a concern. On one hand, an unaware species was less likely to use their shield aggressively. On the other hand, what might happen when they finally discovered what they'd built? More fascinating was how the shield seemed to respond to human emotions and intentions. When a group of physicists grew excited about a discovery, the shield's strength increased. When researchers collaborated across borders, new patterns emerged in the quantum field. It was as if the shield wasn't just a physical barrier, but a reflection of humanity's collective scientific endeavor. Through their observations, they noticed something else remarkable. The shield didn't just protect against external threats, it seemed to actively encourage human scientific progress. Failed experiments often produced unexpected quantum interactions that strengthened the barrier. Even incorrect theories somehow contributed to the shield's evolution. As another day on Earth drew to a close, labs shut down, and researchers headed home, the alien scientists continued their watch. They had learned more about humanity in the past few days than in centuries of previous observation. These beings who still fought wars, who struggled with climate change, who spent hours watching cat videos on the internet, had inadvertently created something beautiful and perfect. The quantum fortress stood as a testament to human curiosity, a shield built not from fear or aggression, but from the simple desire to understand the universe. And perhaps that was why it worked so well, because it was created not by a single brilliant mind or advanced civilization, but by countless humans simply doing what they loved, asking questions and seeking answers. The council chamber fell into a deep silence as the reality of their situation sank in. For the first time in galactic history, they'd faced a defense system they couldn't understand, couldn't penetrate, and couldn't negotiate with because its creators didn't even know it existed. The most powerful civilizations in the known universe found themselves completely stumped by humanity's accidental creation. Every attempt to study the shield only makes it stronger, reported the lead scientist, her holographic presentation showing graphs of failed penetration attempts. It's like trying to catch smoke with your hands. The more you grab at it, the more it slips away. The frustration in her voice echoed through the chamber, bouncing off the curved walls. Another council member stood up, his crystalline form catching the light. We've spent thousands of years developing our technology, perfecting our understanding of quantum mechanics, and a species that still argues about whether climate change is real has created something we can't even comprehend. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on anyone present. Their most sophisticated analysis tools had proven useless. When they tried to scan the shield, their sensors returned impossible readings. When they attempted to map its structure, their computers crashed. It was as if the very act of trying to understand the shield caused it to become more mysterious, more impenetrable. A military advisor cleared his throat, drawing attention to his corner of the chamber. We need to consider the possibility that if we keep probing the shield, we might accidentally alert the humans to its existence. His words sent a chill through the room. The consequences of humans discovering their own power were too frightening to contemplate. They reviewed footage of Earth's leading quantum physicists going about their work. These brilliant minds were unknowingly adding layers of complexity to the shield with each experiment. One screen showed a researcher celebrating a minor breakthrough in quantum entanglement, not realizing she had just made her planet's defenses even stronger. "We can't even warn them," muttered one of the younger council members. Any attempt to communicate would reveal our presence and might disrupt the very thing that makes the shield so effective: their complete ignorance of its existence. The paradox of their situation was maddening. Their superior technology and knowledge had become a liability rather than an advantage. The debate continued for hours. Some argued for a complete withdrawal from Earth's solar system, fearing that continued observation might trigger some unknown aspect of the shield. Others insisted they needed to stay and watch, to learn from what humanity had accidentally achieved. A few even suggested that the humans' ignorance of their creation might be the key to understanding it. "Think about it," said an ancient scientist, his voice wavering with age. "Every advanced civilization tries to build the perfect defense system. We all fail because we overthink it, try to control every aspect. But humans, they just followed their curiosity, asked questions about the universe, and the universe answered by protecting them." The implications were staggering. Humanity's greatest achievement had come not from careful planning or advanced technology, but from their simple desire to understand the quantum world. Their ignorance of the shield's existence had allowed it to grow naturally, freed from the constraints of intentional design. As the council session stretched into its final hours, they faced an unprecedented decision. Their superior technology was useless. Their advanced knowledge couldn't help them. For the first time in their history, they had to accept that sometimes the best defense wasn't built with intention, but grew from simple curiosity. Down on Earth, a group of students was just starting their first quantum physics class, their young minds eager to understand the mysteries of the universe. As they opened their textbooks and picked up their pens, they had no idea that their simple questions would add another small but significant layer to humanity's perfect accidental fortress. News of Earth's quantum shield spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On distant planets and space stations, advanced civilizations reacted with a mixture of fear, awe, and disbelief. The mysterious blue planet, which many had dismissed as a primitive backwater world, had suddenly become the most talked about subject in every corner of the known universe. In the crystal spires of the Andromeda colonies, scientists hurriedly revised their assessments of human capabilities. They must be hiding their true advancement, argued some researchers, unable to accept that such a powerful defense system could be created by accident. Others watched Earth's television broadcasts with newfound interest, searching for hidden meanings in everyday human activities. On the desert world of Proxima b, the ruling council held emergency sessions. Their military commanders, who had once drawn up theoretical plans for Earth conquest, now scrambled to destroy those same documents. The very idea that their most advanced weapons would be useless against Earth's shield sent shockwaves through their strategic planning. "But they still fight wars with metal projectiles," exclaimed one alien diplomat during a heated debate. "They spend hours watching videos of small animals doing amusing things. How can they have created something so powerful?" The confusion in his voice reflected a growing sense of unease throughout the galaxy. If humans could achieve this by accident, what might they do on purpose? The trading outposts near Saturn's rings became bustling centers of speculation. Alien merchants swapped stories about Earth, each tale growing more fantastic than the last. Some claimed the humans were actually super-intelligent beings playing dumb. Others insisted the quantum shield was a gift from an even more advanced civilization. Few could accept the simple truth that human curiosity had accidentally created the perfect defense. Deep in the void between stars, automated probes from various civilizations began changing their courses to avoid Earth's solar system entirely. Their programming, designed to gather data from primitive worlds, couldn't handle the paradox of a species that had mastered quantum mechanics without realizing it. The ripple effects reached even the oldest civilizations. Beings who had watched the rise and fall of countless species suddenly found themselves re-evaluating everything they thought they knew about technological progress. The humans had broken all the rules, advancing in the wrong order, solving an impossible problem without even trying. In research centers across the galaxy, scientists attempted to replicate Earth's shield. They built enormous quantum computers, conducted countless experiments, and spent fortunes trying to understand how a species that still used fossil fuels had achieved something they couldn't. Every attempt failed, perhaps because they were trying too hard to control the process. Some younger civilizations saw Earth's shield as a sign of hope. If humans could achieve something so remarkable by simply following their curiosity, maybe the traditional paths of technological advancement weren't the only way forward. Underground movements began promoting human-style scientific exploration, focusing on asking questions rather than seeking specific outcomes. The fear spread to military planners throughout the galaxy. Earth's impenetrable defense changed the balance of power in ways no one had anticipated. How do you deal with a species that might suddenly discover they're invincible? The humans' very ignorance of their achievement made them more unpredictable, more dangerous in the eyes of many. As the galactic community struggled to adapt to this new reality, Earth continued its daily routines, blissfully unaware of the cosmic panic it had caused. High school students learned about quantum mechanics, researchers conducted their experiments, and curious minds everywhere asked questions about the nature of reality. Each simple action strengthened the shield a little more, while distant civilizations watched in amazement and fear. The galaxy would never be the same. A species that many had written off as barely worth watching had accidentally proven that the greatest achievements don't always come from careful planning or advanced technology. Sometimes they come from simply being curious enough to ask questions about how the universe works and humble enough to accept that you might never know all the answers. After months of intense debate, the Galactic Scientific Council gathered for their final decision. The Grand Chamber, usually a place of calm deliberation, crackled with tension. Representatives from every major spacefaring civilization sat in tiered rows, their attention focused on the central platform where the High Council prepared to announce their verdict on how to handle Earth's quantum shield situation. The head counselor stood, her ancient eyes scanning the assembled crowd. "We have spent countless cycles analyzing, debating, and attempting to understand humanity's accidental creation," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. Today, we must decide not just how to respond, but how to ensure our response doesn't trigger what we fear most. The chamber's holographic displays showed live feeds from Earth, scientists working in their labs, students attending physics lectures, researchers calibrating their equipment. Each innocent action potentially strengthened the shield that had the galaxy's most powerful civilizations trembling in their seats. Our first instinct was to try to disable or breach the shield, continued the head counselor. We now know this is impossible. Every attempt makes it stronger. Our second thought was to warn humanity, to prepare them for their place among the stars. But we've concluded this would be catastrophic. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. A younger council member stood up, his crystalline form shimmering. But surely we can't just do nothing. What if they discover the shield on their own? What if they realize their power? The question echoed what many were thinking. The humans' ignorance of their achievement was both a blessing and a ticking time bomb. The displays shifted to show more Earth scenes. A quantum computing lab celebrating a breakthrough, a university team publishing their latest research, a high school science fair with a young student's particle physics project. Each image hammered home the strange reality. Humanity's greatest achievement had come from simply trying to understand their universe. We have decided, the head counselor announced, to wait and watch. Not from fear, but from wisdom. The chamber erupted in murmurs, but she raised her hand for silence. The shield exists because humans don't know it exists. Their pure, uncomplicated curiosity about the quantum realm has created something we could never engineer with all our advanced technology. The decision was unprecedented. Never before had the Council chosen to deliberately maintain their distance from a developing civilization. But Earth had changed everything. Their quantum shield wasn't just a defense system, it was a mirror showing advanced civilizations what they had lost in their rush for technological superiority. But we must do more than just watch, the head counselor continued. We must learn. The humans have taught us something profound about the nature of discovery. Their shield works precisely because they didn't try to build it. They simply asked questions about their universe, and the universe responded by protecting them. The implications were clear to everyone present. Centuries of careful, controlled scientific advancement had led them down a path where they overthought everything, tried to control every variable. The humans, with their messy, chaotic, curiosity-driven approach to science, had stumbled upon something pure and perfect. As the council session drew to a close, the displays showed a final scene. A young physics student staying late in her lab, purely because she loved what she was doing. Her simple curiosity about the quantum realm was adding another small but significant layer to Earth's defenses, though she would never know it. The head counselor's final words resonated through the chamber. We will watch, we will learn, and most importantly, we will remember that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from trying to control the universe, but from simply wanting to understand it. Down on Earth, millions of humans went about their daily lives, conducting experiments, teaching classes, and asking questions about the nature of reality. Each simple action strengthened their invisible fortress, while across the galaxy, advanced civilizations watched and wondered what other miracles might come from humanity's endless curiosity. The alien scientist who first discovered Earth's quantum shield sat in his private observation pod, putting the final touches on his report. The past few months had changed everything he thought he knew about scientific advancement. As he watched the shield shimmer and pulse around Earth, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of wonder at the universe's greatest irony. Through his quantum telescope, he observed the morning rush at universities across Earth. Young researchers arrived at their labs, coffee cups in hand, ready to tackle another day of experiments. None of them knew that their simple actions were maintaining the most powerful defensive system ever discovered. Their ignorance of their achievement made it all the more beautiful. Its genius in its simplicity, he wrote in his report. While we spent millennia trying to build the perfect defense system, the humans created one by accident. Their shield works because they don't try to control it. They don't even know it exists. Each question they ask about quantum mechanics, each experiment they run, each theory they test, all of it strengthens their protection. His screens showed different scenes from around the globe. A physics professor drawing equations on a board, graduate students calibrating sensitive equipment, a researcher celebrating a tiny breakthrough in quantum computing. Each person was adding their own small contribution to Earth's defense, driven by nothing more than curiosity and the desire to understand. The scientist thought back to his own early days of research, when everything was about control and precision. His civilization, like all advanced species, had tried to master the quantum realm through careful planning and rigid protocols. But the humans had shown them a different way. They had achieved mastery by simply remaining curious. A notification popped up on his screen. Another research paper had just been published on Earth, something about quantum entanglement. As he read it, he could see the shield responding, adapting, growing stronger. The paper's authors would never know that their work had just made their planet a little more impregnable. Perhaps this is the universe's greatest lesson, he continued writing. The humans haven't just created a shield, they've discovered a fundamental truth about discovery itself. The more you try to control something, the more it slips away. But if you simply try to understand it, with no agenda beyond curiosity, the universe might just give you exactly what you need. Through his instruments, he detected a slight fluctuation in the shield. Somewhere on Earth, a high school student had just asked their first question about quantum physics. That simple moment of curiosity had created a new pattern in the quantum field, making the shield even more complex. The beauty of it brought moisture to his viewing organs. The implications would echo through the galaxy for generations. Advanced civilizations would have to reconsider everything they thought they knew about scientific progress. The humans had proved that sometimes the greatest achievements come not from careful planning, but from simply asking questions and following where they lead. As he prepared to transmit his final report, he watched a group of young physics students leaving that evening class. They were laughing, discussing their projects, excited about what they might discover tomorrow. None of them knew that they were part of something much bigger than themselves, that their simple love of science was protecting their entire world. He added one last note to his report. The humans have taught us that true protection doesn't come from weapons or technology. It comes from curiosity, from the desire to understand rather than control. Their quantum fortress isn't just a shield, it's a testament to the power of asking questions without knowing where the answers might lead. The scientist sat back and watched Earth rotate slowly beneath its invisible protection. Somewhere down there, another experiment was starting, another question was being asked, another small discovery was being made. And with each moment of curiosity, humanity's perfect, accidental fortress grew stronger, protecting a species that had achieved the impossible simply by wanting to understand their universe.